The conference room floated in the darkness of space, a massive structure built by species far older than humanity. Haiyan-Wu stood at the entrance, straightening his formal suit one last time before the doors opened. He had been Earth's ambassador for 5 years, but today felt different. The message from the Galactic Council had been marked urgent, and every instinct told him this meeting would change everything. Inside, 17 species sat in a circular chamber. The Vrel dominated one section, their insect-like bodies clicking and chittering among themselves. Their exoskeletons gleamed under the artificial lights, and their compound eyes tracked Haiyan-Wu as he walked to the center platform. Across from them, the Korthon delegates sat perfectly still, their crystalline forms refracting light into rainbow patterns across the walls. The Vrel Chancellor rose from his position. His translator device clicked to life, converting his species' language into something humans could understand. Haiyan-Wu had heard this particular Vrel speak before, always with the same tone of superiority that made his jaw tighten. "Ambassador Haiyan-Wu of Earth," the Chancellor began. "The Galactic Council has completed its assessment of your species. We have watched your expansion into our galaxy. 12 worlds now host human colonies. Your ships travel lanes that have been established for thousands of years. You consume resources, occupy space, and benefit from the stability we provide." Haiyan-Wu said nothing. He had learned that silence often revealed more than questions. "Therefore," the Chancellor continued, "the Council has determined that humanity must contribute to galactic order. You will provide 40% of all resources extracted from your worlds, 40% of all manufactured goods, 40% of your technological developments. This is the price of protection and participation in galactic civilization." The words hit Haiyan-Wu like a physical blow, but he kept his expression neutral. 40%. It was robbery, plain and simple. They were demanding nearly half of everything humanity produced, created, or discovered. "This is presented as protection?" Haiyan-Wu asked carefully. "Protection from what threats?" A Korthon delegate spoke, its voice like wind chimes. "From the chaos that young species bring, from the instability of rapid expansion, from the consequences of ignorance in a complex galaxy. And if Earth declines this offer?" Haiyan-Wu kept his voice steady. The Vrel Chancellor's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. "Then humanity will face complete embargo. No trade with Council species, no access to established space lanes, no diplomatic recognition. Your 12 worlds will be isolated, and your ships will be turned away from every port in civilized space." The Chancellor paused, letting the threat sink in. "We have also positioned defense fleets near your territory for your protection, naturally. They will enforce the embargo if necessary and ensure no regrettable incidents occurred during this transition period." Haiyan-Wu understood the real message. The Council had already moved military forces into position. This was not a negotiation. It was a demand backed by overwhelming force. "Council grants humanity 30 rotations to accept these terms," the Chancellor said. "We suggest you do not waste this generosity with pointless resistance. 3 other species have stood where you stand now. All chose wisdom over pride. They now prosper as valued members of the galactic community." Haiyan-Wu had heard about those species. The Vrel called them valued members, but everyone else called them something different: vassals. They had no real independence, no control over their own resources or futures. They existed to serve the Council's interests. "I will convey the Council's position to my government," Haiyan-Wu said formally. "However, I must request clarification on several points before Earth can make an informed decision." The Chancellor waved a clawed appendage dismissively. "There is nothing to clarify. Accept or refuse. Those are your only choices. This session is concluded." The other Council members began filing out. Some looked at Haiyan-Wu with what might have been pity. Others showed nothing but indifference. To them, humanity was just another young species that needed to learn its place in the galaxy. Haiyan-Wu returned to his private quarters on the station and immediately activated his secure communication system. The quantum encryption took a moment to establish. Then Admiral Taeyong's face appeared on the screen. "Ambassador," the Admiral said, "your face tells me the meeting went poorly." Worse than we anticipated, Haiyan Wu replied. He quickly explained the council's demands and the 30-day deadline. Taeyong's expression darkened. 40%. They are not even pretending this is anything but extortion. They have fleets positioned near our space already, Haiyan Wu added. They were confident enough in our submission to move military assets before even making the demand. A second screen opened. Showing Dr. Ji Wu from her laboratory on Earth, the scientist had been listening to the conversation. How many ships? She asked. The Chancellor did not provide numbers. But our intelligence reports suggest at least 5 of their capital fleets, Haiyan Wu said. Against our 3 defensive fleets, the math is not encouraging. Numbers can be deceiving, Ji Wu said quietly. Are you safe on the station? For now, they still want an answer, so they will not risk harming me. But I recommend we assume they have been monitoring all standard communications. We should limit discussions to this encrypted channel only. Taeyong nodded. Agreed. I will contact President Dayun immediately. She needs to convene the full council. This requires a unified response from Earth and all colonies. What do you think they will decide? Haiyan Wu asked. The Admiral was quiet for a moment. I think they will do what humanity has always done when faced with bullies. We will refuse. That means war, Haiyan Wu said softly. Perhaps Ji Wu interjected. Or perhaps it means revealing that we have been preparing for exactly this scenario for longer than the Galactic Council realizes. Haiyan Wu felt a flicker of hope. He knew Earth's government had been developing contingency plans, but he did not know the details. His role was diplomacy, not military strategy or scientific research. But he trusted both Taeyong and Ji Wu completely. How should I respond in the meantime? He asked. Remain professional and calm, Taeyong advised. Do not show fear or anger. Let them think we are frightened and considering their demands seriously. The longer they believe we might submit, the more time we have to prepare, and if they press for an early answer, Ji Wu smiled slightly, then tell them humanity needs to carefully consider such an important decision. Use their own sense of superiority against them. They will expect us to be slow and deliberate because they think we are primitive. After the call ended, Haiyan Wu sat in the darkness of his quarters, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Council's fleets were moving into position, certain that humanity would bend. They had studied human history and saw a species that fought among itself for thousands of years. They saw divisions and conflicts and assumed weakness, but they had missed something important. Yes, humans fought each other, but when threatened from outside, they had an annoying habit of uniting against common enemies. The Council was about to learn that lesson the hard way. Hugh pulled up the files on the 3 species that had accepted the Council's terms. All had been spacefaring for less than 3 centuries when approached, just like humanity. All had military forces smaller than what the Council could deploy. All had chosen survival over resistance. But humanity had something those species might not have had: time to prepare. In a deep, stubborn streak that made them terrible at accepting surrender. The emergency session began at dawn in Geneva. President Dayun looked around the table at the faces of humanity's leadership. Admiral Taeyong sat to her right, his military uniform crisp despite the early hour. Dr. Ji Wu had flown in from her research facility and was reviewing data on her tablet. Counselor Minesio represented the colonial worlds, and Intelligence Director Jae-han had brought files that now sat in neat stacks before each person. Thank you all for coming on such short notice, Dayun began. By now you have all read Ambassador Hanwha's report. The Galactic Council has given us 30 days to surrender 40% of everything we produce, or face total embargo and possible military action. Minesco spoke first. We should negotiate. 40% is outrageous, but perhaps we can bargain them down to 20 or 25%. That would be painful, but survivable. Survivable in the short term, Taeyong countered. But what happens in 10 years? Once they establish the precedent that we pay tribute, they can increase the amount whenever they wish. We become their property in everything but name. Better property than dead, Minesio shot back. The Admiral himself said they outnumber our fleets 5-1. How do we fight those odds? Jahayan opened one of his files. Before we discuss fighting, everyone should understand what we are really facing. My intelligence division has been monitoring the Galactic Council for 8 years. This extortion is not new. They have done this before. He activated a holographic display showing 3 alien species: the Pelther, the Quinther, and the Novan. All were contacted by the Council within 300 years of achieving faster-than-light travel. All were given similar demands. All accepted? What happened to them? Do-Yoon asked, though she suspected she knew the answer. They exist, Jae-hyun said carefully, but they have no real independence. The Council controls their trade, their expansion, even their internal policies through economic pressure. The Pelther tried to renegotiate their terms 15 years ago. The Council doubled their tribute requirements as punishment. The room fell silent. Minesio looked down at his hands. There is more, Jae-hyun continued. We have intercepted Council communications that discuss humanity specifically. They view us as dangerous because we are expanding too quickly and because we refuse to join their alliance structures early on. This demand is partly about resources, but it is also about putting us in our place before we become too strong to control. They are afraid of us? Ji-woo asked. Not yet, but they fear what we might become. So they are moving now, while they think they can win easily. Do-Yoon leaned back in her chair. Admiral Taeyong, give us the military assessment without softening it. The Admiral stood and activated another display showing the positions of Council and human forces. They have 5 major fleets totaling approximately 800 capital ships near our space. We have 3 fleets with 300 capital ships combined. In a direct engagement, we would lose. So we cannot fight, Minesio said. I did not say that, Taeyong replied. I said we would lose a direct engagement. There are other ways to fight. He looked at Ji-woo, who stood and took over the presentation. For the past 12 years, the scientists began. Earth's government has been running a program called Silent Expansion. We suspected that contact with older species might eventually lead to exactly this situation. So we prepared. New images appeared on the display: asteroids, barren planets, and deep space installations. While the Galactic Council watched us colonize 12 worlds openly, we established infrastructure on 43 other locations in secret. These are not colonies with civilian populations, but automated facilities. Mining operations, manufacturing plants, research stations, and shipyards. All hidden in regions the Council considers too remote or resource-poor to bother surveying. Minesio stared at the display. 43. How did we keep this secret? By being very careful, Gi-woo said. We only used human crews with the highest security clearances. We transported everything using experimental quantum displacement drives that do not leave the same. Energy signatures as standard FTL travel. The Council's sensors cannot track our movements the same way they track their own ships. Quantum displacement? Do-Yoon asked. I thought that was still theoretical. It was until 7 years ago. We have been testing and refining the technology in secret. It allows our ships to make instantaneous jumps across vast distances without using conventional jump gates or FTL corridors. Taeyong took over again. These hidden facilities have been building ships and weapons using automated systems. The Council thinks we have 300 capital ships. The actual number is closer to 700, with more being completed every week. The room erupted in surprised voices. Minesio looked stunned. Even Do-Yoon, who had known some of this, had not realized the full scale. 700 ships? Minesio repeated. How? Where is the crew for such a fleet? Many are automated or require minimal crews, Ji-woo explained. Human AI technology is more advanced than what the Council uses. They rely on organic crews because their treaties ban sophisticated AI. We have no such restrictions. Do-Yoon held up her hand for silence. So we have been preparing for this confrontation. The question now is what we do with that preparation. Do we reveal our strength and force a new negotiation? Do we fight? Or do we still seek a peaceful compromise? Jae-hyun spoke up. If we reveal our hidden forces without using them, the Council will simply wait and build up more strength before trying again. They will also tighten their surveillance of our space. We would lose the element of surprise that has taken years to create. If we fight, Minesio argued, thousands will die. Possibly millions if the war spreads to our civilian worlds. If we surrender, Taeyang said firmly, we condemn all future generations of humanity to servitude. Our children will grow up in a galaxy where they are second-class citizens, where everything they build can be taken at someone else's whim. Dayun looked at each person in turn. These were the people she trusted most in the entire human sphere of influence. They were smart, dedicated, and each brought different perspectives. Dr. Jiwoo, she said finally, you mentioned quantum displacement drives and hidden infrastructure. What else have we developed that the Council does not know about? The scientist smiled. Quite a lot, Madam President. Would you like the full list, or just the highlights? Highlights for now. Self-replicating mining drones that can strip an asteroid and build copies of themselves from the materials. Energy shields that adapt to incoming weapon frequencies. Communication systems that the Council cannot intercept or jam. Medical technology that can repair injuries the Council's physicians consider fatal. And a few other surprises I would prefer to keep secret until we decide how to proceed. And you believe these technologies give us an advantage? I believe they level the playing field, Jiwoo said carefully. The Council has had thousands of years to perfect their existing technology. But they have also become comfortable and conservative. They stopped innovating because they did not need to. We have been innovating constantly because we are younger and hungrier. June made her decision. We have 13 days until Ambassador Hyanwoo must return to the Council station. I want options. Admiral Tae-young, prepare battle plans assuming we reject their demands. Dr. Jiwoo, brief me on all our hidden capabilities. Counselor Minesio, I need you to prepare our civilian population for the possibility of conflict without causing panic. Director Jae-hain, increase surveillance on Council movements and communications. She stood, and everyone else rose with her. We did not ask for this confrontation, Dayun said. We would have preferred to join the galactic community as equals and partners. But the Council has decided to treat us as prey to be exploited. They have made a mistake. They looked at humanity and saw a young species they could easily intimidate. She looked around the table, meeting each person's eyes. They are about to learn why that was a terrible miscalculation. Humanity does not bow to bullies. We never have. Dismissed. As the others filed out, Taeyang lingered. You know, this will change everything, he said quietly. Once we start down this path, there is no going back. But what choice do we have? The Council chose this confrontation, not us. History will judge us by what happens next. Then we had better make sure history sees that we fought for our freedom, not our pride. Ambassador Hyanwoo walked back into the Council chamber exactly 30 days after receiving their ultimatum. The same faces watched him, the same sense of superiority radiating from the Vrel Chancellor and his colleagues. They expected surrender. Everything in their body language told him they had already prepared the ceremonies to welcome humanity into vassal status. Ambassador Hyanwoo, the Chancellor, began. Has Earth reached its decision? We have, Hyanwoo replied calmly. Earth rejects your demands. The chamber erupted in clicking, chiming, and other sounds of surprise from various species. The Chancellor's compound eyes fixed on the human ambassador. You reject our generous offer? You choose isolation and poverty? We choose freedom, Hyanwoo said. Earth will never surrender 40% of our production to anyone. We will never accept vassal status. If the Council wishes to negotiate a fair trade agreement between equals, we remain open to discussion. But extortion is not negotiation. Chancellor's mandibles clicked rapidly, and what Hyanwoo had learned was anger. You understand this means complete embargo? No Council species will trade with you. Your expansion stops today. We understand your position, Hyanwoo said. We simply disagree with it. Then this session is concluded, the Chancellor declared. Earth has chosen its fate. Let the embargo begin immediately. All Council vessels are to avoid human space. All human vessels will be turned away from Council ports. Let us see how long your pride sustains you without galactic commerce. Hyanwoo bowed slightly and left the chamber. Behind him, he could hear the Council members discussing humanity's foolishness. Let them think what they wanted. In a few days, they would understand their mistake. 3 days later, the Vrel Admiral Threxus commanded 5 battle fleets positioned around New Terra, humanity's largest colony world outside the Sol system. His orders were clear: enforce the embargo, intercept any human vessels attempting to leave, and demonstrate council power. He expected this to be simple. The humans would realize their error within weeks and come begging for mercy. Then his sensors detected 6 human ships breaking orbit from New Terra. Finally, Threxus said to his bridge crew, "They are making a desperate attempt to break through. All fleets prepare to intercept. We will capture these vessels intact and parade them as examples of human futility." Captain Sujin stood on the bridge of her ship, watching the massive Vrel fleet move to intercept her small task force. She had commanded exploration vessels for 8 years, but this ship was something new, something the Council had never seen before. "All ships confirm quantum drive status," she said calmly. 5 acknowledgements came back. Every vessel showed green across all systems. "They are locking weapons on us," her tactical officer reported. "Let them," Sujin replied. "Wait for my mark." The Vrel fleet closed to firing range. Threxus gave the order to disable the human vessels with precision weapons fire. "Show them they were outmatched without destroying them entirely," Sujin said quietly. 6 human ships vanished. Not destroyed, not jumped to FTL, but simply disappeared from existence in one location and reappeared in another. The quantum displacement drives functioned perfectly, just as Dr. Ji Woo had promised. On Threxus's bridge, alarms blared. His crew scrambled to understand what had happened. Sensors showed nothing. The human ships had simply ceased to exist. Where did they go? Threxus demanded. "Unknown, Admiral." "We detect no FTL signatures, no jump gate activation, nothing. They just vanished." Meanwhile, Sujin's task force had reappeared on the other side of the galaxy. Near one of humanity's secret installations in the Kepler Rim, she smiled as she watched her crew celebrate their successful test. "Message to Earth Command," she said. "Quantum displacement works perfectly under combat conditions. Council forces cannot track or intercept us." Within hours, similar demonstrations occurred at every human world where Council ships had established blockades. Human vessels appeared and disappeared at will, making the entire concept of a blockade meaningless. The Council could position all the ships they wanted, but they could not stop an enemy they could not track or predict. On Earth, Dr. Jiwoo activated the second phase of their response. Across 43 hidden locations, automated systems came online. Mining drones that had been quietly working for years increased their production to maximum capacity. The drones did not need sleep, food, or rest. They simply consumed asteroids and lifeless moons, breaking down matter into base elements and shipping them to automated factories. Those factories began producing everything humanity needed: ships, weapons, medical supplies, food synthesizers, construction materials, and more. Each factory could produce copies of itself, gradually expanding the network of human production across uncharted space. Engineer Biora supervised the activation from a control center buried deep in an asteroid belt. She watched as production numbers climbed on her displays. In just 72 hours, human industrial output doubled. Then it tripled. The Council's embargo could not hurt an economy that did not depend on Council trade. "Status report," Biora said to her team. "All facilities operating at 98% efficiency," one engineer replied. "Resource extraction exceeded projections by 15%. Manufacturing output is ahead of schedule. Any detection by Council sensors? None. We are still operating in their blind spots. They have no idea these facilities exist." Biora allowed herself a small smile. The Council thought humanity had 12 worlds and 3 fleets. They had no idea about the invisible empire that had grown in the shadows. Admiral Tien was coordinating the final element of the response. The hidden shipyards had been building vessels for years, and now those vessels began moving into position. Not all at once, but in carefully planned groups that avoided Council detection. "How many ships are ready for deployment?" he asked his staff. 437 capital ships fully operational, the response came. Another 200 in final construction phases. All crews trained and ready. And the Council still thinks we only have 300 total? Confirmed, Admiral. Their intelligence reports consistently show the same numbers. They are watching our official shipyards and counting what they see built there. They have no idea about our hidden construction. Tae-young studied the holographic display, showing both Council and human positions. Maintain current deployment schedules. Do not reveal our full strength yet. Let them think the embargo is working. Back at the Council station, Hyanwoo received an urgent communication from the Vrel Chancellor. Your ships are using some kind of new technology to evade our blockade, the Chancellor said angrily. This is unacceptable. The Council demands you cease this provocation immediately. Provocation? Hyanwoo replied mildly. We are simply going about our business. If the Council finds our legitimate travel inconvenient, perhaps the embargo was poorly planned. You dare mock the Council? I dare speak truthfully. Earth rejected extortion. We will continue to reject it no matter what threats you make. Our vessels will travel where they wish, when they wish. Your blockade has failed. This is not over, the Chancellor threatened. No, Hyanwoo agreed. It is not. But perhaps it should be. The Council could withdraw its demands, recognize human sovereignty. And we could establish normal diplomatic and trade relations like civilized species. The communication cut off abruptly. Hyanwoo was not surprised. The Council's pride would not allow them to back down easily. They would escalate first. Dr. Giwoo made one more move that sent shockwaves across the galaxy. She released a data packet to every independent world and minor species not part of the Council's inner circle. The packet contained medical research that could cure 3 previously incurable diseases. It contained agricultural techniques that could increase food production by 30%. It contained energy generation methods that were cleaner and more efficient than current. Council technology, and it was all given freely. With no strings attached. Within days, hundreds of worlds were using human innovations. Species that had suffered under Council indifference suddenly had access to life-changing technology. The message was clear. Humanity was not the enemy. The Council's restrictive control was the real problem. A message from the Korthon. Empire arrived at Earth through secret channels. They wanted to talk away from Council oversight. Other species sent similar messages. The Council was fracturing. President Dae-yoon read the reports and smiled. The Council had expected humanity to collapse under economic pressure. Instead, humanity had revealed that they did not need the Council's economy. They had built their own, hidden in plain sight. They made 2 mistakes, she told her advisors. First, they assumed we were weak. Second, they assumed we were alone. Now they are learning that we are neither. The Vrel will not accept this, Tae-young warned. They will escalate to military action. Let them, Dae-yoon said. We are ready. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The Vrel Chancellor stood before the assembly, his rage barely controlled. Around him, the other council members shifted uncomfortably. What was supposed to be a simple demonstration of power had turned into a humiliating failure. The human embargo has accomplished nothing, the Chancellor admitted, each word seeming to pain him. Their vessels appear and disappear at will. Their economy is growing, not shrinking, and now they are giving away advanced technology to half the galaxy. A Korthon representative spoke, its crystalline voice cold. Perhaps we misjudged the humans. Their technology is clearly more advanced than our intelligence suggested. They are one species barely 2 centuries into space travel, the Chancellor shot back. They cannot be more advanced than civilizations that have existed for thousands of years. And yet their quantum displacement drives exceed anything we have developed, another delegate pointed out. Their manufacturing capabilities appear unlimited, and they have established hidden infrastructure that our best sensors never detected. The Chancellor's mandibles clicked furiously, which is why we must act decisively. I propose immediate military action. We will strike their home world and force surrender through overwhelming power. The chamber erupted in debate. Some species supported the aggressive approach. Others urged caution. The Korthon delegation requested a recess to consult with their government. During that recess, 3 minor council species sent secret delegations to meet with Ambassador Hyun-Dash-Woo. The first was from the Pelion Unity, a collection of ocean-dwelling species. Their ambassador, speaking through a water-filled communication tank, was direct. "Our people have suffered under council and economic control for generations," the Pelion said. "The medical technology you released has already saved thousands of Pelion children. We wish to establish direct relations with Earth." Independent of council approval, second delegation came from the Terrans, a species of small, furry beings who had been marginalized within the council structure for decades. "We are tired of being treated as inferior by the Vrel and Korthon," their representative said. "You humans have shown there is another way. We want to be your allies." The third was most surprising, a secret envoy from the Korthon Empire itself. My government does not speak with one voice on this matter," the Korthon explained. "Many among us see the wisdom in cooperation rather than confrontation. We cannot officially break with the council yet. But we want you to know that not all Korthon support the Chancellor's aggressive stance." Hyun-Woo treated each delegation with respect and made preliminary agreements. He reported everything to President Dae-yoon, who smiled at the news. "The council is fracturing faster than we anticipated," she said during a secure call. 3 species openly defecting, and the Korthon are wavering. "What is Admiral Taeyong's assessment?" The admiral appeared on a second screen. "The Vrel will attack soon. They cannot afford to appear. Are weak in front of the other council members. My intelligence suggests they are massing forces for a strike at Earth itself. Can we defend against such an attack?" "Defend? Yes, but I have a better plan." Taeyong explained his strategy. Rather than waiting to defend Earth, he proposed moving the human fleet to a position between the Council's homeworlds and their forward military bases. It would cut their forces off from reinforcement and resupply, while also demonstrating that humanity could strike at their core if they chose to. "It is aggressive," Dae-yoon said, "but not actually an attack. We would be demonstrating capability without starting a shooting war." "Exactly. We show them that we could hurt them badly, but we are choosing restraint. It might give the more reasonable council members ammunition to argue against continued conflict." "Do it," Dae-yoon ordered. "But make absolutely certain our forces do not fire first under any circumstances. We are not the aggressors here." Merchant Captain Dong Han was having the time of his life. For years, he had hauled cargo on predictable routes through council-controlled space, paying fees and following regulations. Now he commanded a convoy of 50 cargo ships using quantum displacement technology to deliver goods wherever they wanted. "Next stop, the Rimward markets," he announced to his convoy. "The council forbids independent trade there, which means prices are high and customers are eager." His ships vanished from one location and reappeared near a station that had not seen non-council ships in 20 years. The station master was initially terrified, thinking the council had come to punish them for some violation. Then he realized these were human vessels. "You can trade here?" the station master asked in disbelief. "We can trade anywhere we want," Dong Han replied cheerfully. "The council's embargo only affects them, not us. Now, I have medical supplies, food synthesizers, and manufacturing equipment. What do you have to offer?" Within hours, trade was flowing. The humans accepted local currency, raw materials, and even cultural artifacts in exchange for their goods. They were not trying to dominate the market or extract maximum profit. They were building relationships and demonstrating that galactic trade did not require council approval. Similar scenes played out across dozens of independent stations and minor worlds. Human merchants appeared, traded fairly, and disappeared again before council enforcement could respond. Each successful trade mission weakened the council's economic control a little more. Observer. Haewon stood in Dr. Ji-woo's laboratory on Earth, watching as another data packet was prepared for release. "This one contains our research on gravity manipulation," Haewon said. "Are you sure we should give this away so freely?" "Knowledge is not diminished by sharing," Ji-woo replied. "The more species that have access to advanced technology, the less the council can use technological superiority as a weapon. Besides, we are still years ahead in practical applications. We can afford to share older research. The Council will call this bribery. Let them. These species are receiving genuine benefits from human generosity. That builds more lasting relationships than any treaty forced at gunpoint. The latest data release included gravity manipulation, advanced communications technology, and educational materials on quantum mechanics. Within days, universities across the galaxy were downloading and studying the information. Students who had struggled under limited council educational systems suddenly had access to comprehensive human research. The political impact was immediate. Public opinion on dozens of worlds shifted in humanity's favor. The Council's member species began facing internal pressure from their own populations, who wanted access to human innovations and fair trade relationships. Back at the Council station, the Vrel Chancellor faced growing opposition. The Korthon Empire formally announced it was suspending its support for military action against humanity. 2 other major Council species joined them. The Pelion Unity, Terrans, and another minor species officially withdrew from the Council entirely. This is mutiny, the Chancellor raged. The Council is the foundation of galactic order. The Council is a structure, not an end unto itself, a Korthon delegate replied. If the structure no longer serves the needs of its members, it must change or be replaced. You would side with the humans over your own kind. We would side with reason over pride. The humans have demonstrated superior technology, economic independence, and a willingness to share their advantages freely. Meanwhile, we have demonstrated arrogance, threats, and failed embargoes. Which approach serves civilization better? The Chancellor had no good answer to that. Admiral Taeyong's fleet moved into position exactly as planned. 400 human ships suddenly appeared in a spherical formation surrounding 3 Council home systems. They did not power weapons or launch fighters. They simply sat there. An undeniable demonstration of power and reach. The message was clear. Humanity could strike at the heart of the Council if they wanted to. They had the ships, the technology, and the positioning to do severe damage. But they were choosing not to attack. This is an act of war, Admiral Threxus transmitted to the human fleet. This is a demonstration of capability, Taeyang replied calmly. We have not fired a single shot. We have not violated any territory. We are simply ensuring that any Council attack on humanity would come at a very high cost. You threaten our homeworlds? No. We demonstrate that your homeworlds are as vulnerable as you claimed ours to be. Surely you understand the concept of mutual deterrence? Threxus cut the transmission, but Taeyang could see the Council fleet scrambling to respond. They were pulling forces back from forward positions to defend their core systems. Exactly as planned, President Dayun addressed the galaxy. In a public broadcast that every species with communications technology could receive. The Galactic Council demanded that humanity surrender 40% of our production and submit to their authority. We refused. They declared an embargo. We ignored it. They positioned military forces near our worlds. We demonstrated that we could do the same to theirs. She paused, letting the words sink in. But humanity does not want war. We want peace, cooperation, and mutual respect among all species. We have shared our technological advances freely because we believe knowledge should benefit everyone, not just the powerful. We have established trade with independent worlds because we believe economic opportunities should be available to all. The Council can continue down a path of confrontation if they choose. But they should understand that we will not submit. We cannot be isolated, and we will not be intimidated. Or they can choose a different path. Negotiation. Recognition of our sovereignty and cooperation toward a better future for all species. The message reached every corner of the galaxy, and slowly, the pressure on the Council to change became overwhelming. Admiral Threxus stared at the tactical display showing human ships surrounding 3 Council home worlds. His pride demanded action. His military training warned against it. The Vrel High Command had given him discretionary authority to respond to human provocations, and he intended to use it. All fleets prepare for combat operations, he ordered. We will eliminate this human presence and teach them the price of threatening the Council. His subordinates hesitated. Admiral, the humans have not actually attacked. They have not even powered their weapons systems. Their presence is threat enough. We will strike first and ask questions later. All ships, target the human fleet and fire on my command. Across 3 star systems, Vrel warships charged their weapons and locked onto human vessels. They had superior numbers in this engagement, nearly 2 to 1. Threxis was confident of victory. On the bridge of her flagship, Captain Sujin watched the Vrel fleet preparing to attack. They are powering weapons, her tactical officer reported. Estimate 30 seconds to firing range. Defensive measures only, Sujin ordered calmly. Do not return fire under any circumstances. Activate adaptive shielding and prepare for evasive displacement. Ma'am, we could destroy half their fleet before they even got a shot off. We would become the aggressors. Hold your fire. The Vrel fleet opened fire. Hundreds of energy beams and missiles launched toward human ships. But the human vessels simply vanished, using their quantum displacement drives to relocate instantly. They reappeared in new positions, still surrounding the Council systems. But now outside the Vrel firing solutions, Threxis cursed as his weapons hit empty space. Recalculate firing solutions. Track those ships. We cannot track them, Admiral. They do not follow predictable patterns. The human fleet displaced again, appearing even closer to the Vrel homeworld. Still, they did not fire. This is humiliating, Threxis snarled. They are mocking us. He was right. The humans were demonstrating that they could avoid any attack while maintaining their position. They could dance around the Vrel fleet indefinitely without ever being hit. Admiral Taeyong watched from his command ship in Earth orbit as reports came in from Captain Sujin's forces. The Vrel fired first. His tactical officer reported, "Our ships evaded without returning fire. The Vrel are now attempting to pursue but cannot match our displacement capabilities." Excellent. Maintain defensive posture only. Record everything. I want every species in the galaxy to see that the Council attacked peaceful vessels that had not threatened them. President Dayun received the same reports. She immediately authorized the next phase of their plan. Release the combat footage to every news service in the galaxy, she ordered. Make sure everyone sees that the Council attacked first, while our ships were simply sitting in open space. Within hours, every species with access to galactic communications saw the footage. Human ships positioned defensively. Vrel ships charging weapons. The unprovoked attack. The human ships evading effortlessly without firing back. The narrative was clear. The Council was the aggressor, and humanity had shown remarkable restraint. The political damage to the Council was immediate and severe. 3 more species withdrew their support. The Korthon Empire formally condemned the Vrel attack. Even some Vrel citizens began questioning their government's actions. Threxis, desperate to salvage something from the disaster, ordered a direct assault on Earth itself. If he could not defeat the human fleet in open space, he would strike at their homeworld. He gathered every ship under his command, nearly 300 vessels, and jumped to the Sol system. We will bombard their cities from orbit, he announced. Force their surrender through overwhelming firepower. But when his fleet arrived at Earth, they found a surprise waiting. Admiral Tiang had positioned the entire human fleet in a defensive grid around Earth, Luna, and Mars. 400 capital ships. With hundreds more support vessels, all equipped with the adaptive shielding technology Dr. Juhu's team had developed. This is Admiral Taeyong of Earth Defense Forces, he transmitted. You have entered our home system with hostile intent. We will defend ourselves. This is your only warning to withdraw. Threxis looked at the numbers on his display. He was outnumbered. How was that possible? Earth was supposed to have 3 fleets. This was more than twice that number. Where did all these ships come from? He demanded. From shipyards you never detected, Taeyong replied simply. Did you think we would tell you everything? Turn around, Admiral. You cannot win this fight. Pride would not let Threxis retreat. He ordered the attack. The battle lasted less than an hour. Human ships used their displacement drives to constantly reposition, striking from unexpected angles while avoiding return fire. The adaptive shielding absorbed or deflected most Vril weapons that did connect. Human weapon systems, meanwhile, were designed specifically to disable rather than destroy. Captain Sujin led a squadron that targeted Vril engines and weapon systems with surgical precision. Her ships would appear, fire, and disappear before the enemy could respond. It was not a battle. It was a systematic dismantling of the Vril fleet. Threxus watched in horror as ship after ship lost power or weapons. The humans were deliberately disabling his forces rather than destroying them. It was merciful and humiliating in equal measure. "Cease fire," he finally transmitted. "We surrender." "All human ships, hold your fire," Taeyang ordered immediately. Boarding teams prepare to provide humanitarian assistance to disabled vessels. Within minutes, human medics were boarding damaged Vril ships, helping treat injured crew members. Human engineers assisted with emergency repairs to keep life support functioning. The Vril crews, expecting to be treated as prisoners, were stunned by the compassion shown by their enemies. Taeyang contacted Threxus directly. "Admiral, your ships will be towed to a neutral location and released. Your wounded will receive medical treatment. You and your crews are free to return to Council space with a message." "What message?" Threxus asked bitterly. "That humanity could have destroyed your entire fleet. We chose mercy instead. Tell your leaders that we are not their enemies unless they insist on making us so." The broken VRELL fleet limped away from Earth system 3 days later, every crew member alive, every ship repairable. The message was clear. Humanity had the power to win, but the wisdom to show restraint. The Galactic Council convened for what would be its final session in the old format. The Vril Chancellor faced a chamber full of hostile delegates. The Korthon demanded his resignation. The Pelion Unity called for complete restructuring of the Council. Even other insectoid species that usually supported the Vril were distancing themselves. "This council has failed," a Korthon elder declared. "We claim to bring order to the galaxy, but we brought only oppression and stagnation. The humans have shown us a better way." "They are a young species," the Chancellor protested weakly. "They do not understand the complexities of galactic governance." "They understand something we forgot," the Korthon replied. "That power comes with responsibility. That technology should serve all people, not just the elite. That cooperation builds stronger bonds than coercion." The vote was decisive. The old council structure would dissolve. A new galactic assembly would form, a genuine representation for all species regardless of age or military power. President Doyoon stood before that new assembly 6 months later. Earth had been invited to join as a founding member, with full voting rights and no tribute requirements. "We did not seek this confrontation," Doyoon told the assembled species. "We wanted only to be treated as equals. When the old council tried to extort us, we could have responded with pure military force. Instead, we demonstrated our capabilities while showing restraint and compassion." She gestured to where Ambassador Hyanwu stood next to the former Vril Chancellor, who had been retained as an advisor despite his mistakes. "We believe all species have value. All cultures contribute to the richness of galactic civilization. The old way of strong dominating weak has given way to a new approach: cooperation, mutual respect, and shared progress." The assembly erupted in approving sounds from dozens of different species. Dr. Gu launched her new initiative, the Galactic Innovation Network. Human scientists would work alongside researchers from hundreds of species, sharing knowledge and developing new technologies for the benefit of all. The quantum displacement drive technology was released to any species that wanted it. Energy shield designs were made public. Medical advances were given freely. Engineer Biora opened the first joint species manufacturing facility, where automated human systems worked alongside traditional craftsmen from other cultures. The result was production that combined efficiency with artistry. Merchant Captain Dong Hyan expanded his trading routes. Now working officially with species across the galaxy, his ships still use quantum displacement for speed, but now they also carried cultural exchange programs. bringing people together across vast distances. The most profound change came in education. Young pilot June was among the first class at the new Galactic Academy, where humans learned crystalline engineering from Corthon masters. While teaching quantum mechanics to students from a dozen species, the next generation would grow up seeing cooperation as normal, not exceptional. 5 years after the confrontation, Ambassador Hyanwu walked through the gardens on the new assembly station. He passed Vrel students studying human agricultural techniques. He saw Corthon engineers discussing shipyard designs with human technicians. He watched children from 15 different species playing together without fear or prejudice. A Vrel approached him. One of Admiral Threx's former crew members, Ambassador. "I wanted to thank you," the young Vrel said. "My ship was disabled during the battle at Earth. Your medics saved my life. Before that day, I believed humans were dangerous primitives. Now I study human medicine at your academy." Yuanwu smiled. "What changed your mind? You could have killed us all. You had every reason to destroy our fleet after we attacked unprovoked. But you saved us instead. That is not primitive. That is advanced civilization." After the Vrel student left, Hyanwu sat on a bench and looked out at the stars. Earth had come so close to war, to potentially devastating conflict. The Council's extortion attempt could have led to death and destruction across the galaxy. Instead, it had led to this: a galaxy where strength was measured not just in weapons, but in wisdom. Where advancement meant lifting others up, not pushing them down. Where being human meant showing that compassion and power could coexist. The old council had tried to extort humanity, expecting easy submission. What they got instead was a lesson that would echo across the galaxy for generations, that the newest species might also be the wisest. That restraint required more courage than aggression, and that the future belonged to those who chose cooperation over conquest. Humanity had not just survived the challenge, they had transformed it into an opportunity to make the entire galaxy better. And in doing so, they had proven that they deserved their place among the stars, not because they could fight, but because they knew when not to.